Welcome to Thursday. It's July 24th, 2025. Your day weather podcast being brought to you by the Advocates Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured in an accident, don't face it alone. Get an experienced local Wyoming attorney on your side. Free consultations at wyomingadvocates.com or call 307-800-1952. You deserve an advocate. Another day of deep monsoonal moisture along and east of the divide. Upslope conditions, and you guessed it, we'll see basically another similar situation as to yesterday. Then drier air gets punched in from the southwest beginning tomorrow. As we mentioned yesterday, this does not eliminate the thunderstorms, but reduces them and kind of concentrates them in a ring around the drier air. So we'll need to watch that, and we'll show you what we expect through the weekend. The door opens to another monsoonal surge beginning next Tuesday and Wednesday. Kind of a repeat performance for next week, really, in terms of how the weather will evolve. It all started yesterday with some haze and fog there in the valley near Leadville, Colorado. The moisture in the mid-levels you can see there in the clouds. In Craig, Colorado, we can see the high and mid-level moisture that's coming up from the south. This is an area that could really use some of this monsoonal moisture. It's kind of remarkable the differences between one side of the Continental Divide and the other. This is just where the monsoonal moisture has wanted to go so far this summer, along and east of the divide. A brief shot of Kelvin Helmholtz clouds. Nice, quick thinking shot there to look up because those did not last very long. And the stage was set yesterday. We talked about this. This is a great shot. This is up along the Bighorn Mountains in Johnson County, Wyoming, about that cool front we talked about yesterday, surging in from the north, coming down along the east slopes of the mountains. There you can see the leading edge of it, and then that caused the showers and thunderstorms to build up yesterday. So the stage was set. We had all the right pieces come together. And here's a great shot from Jen Curtis of the frontal passage as it came south from the east slopes of the Bighorns into southeastern Wyoming. Then as it climbed the Cheyenne Ridge, that higher terrain up to 6,200 feet, we saw this. There's a mouthful of a cloud name there for you, a little bit of like a roll cloud action as the front caused that cloud to form right up on the ridge. Then the monsoonal moisture came together. So we got a sequence of events here. Now, for anybody that was at Cheyenne Frontier Days yesterday, boy, did you get lucky. You got through the rodeo with just some thunder and some sprinkles. Right after the rodeo, though, it was a deluge, and then the deluge ended just in time for the night show. But what we saw was the combination of two thunderstorms working together right along that same Cheyenne Ridge. So we had a thunderstorm that developed very quickly south, then another thunderstorm that developed quickly to the north. So we had Storm A and Storm B, two systems forming at the same time. One was actually coming up from the southwest. The other one was coming in from the northwest. And the two came together. And you may be wondering, well, did Jan just take a camera or did he have a video? Well, of course he had a video. So you can see it really come together here. You can see the rotation, the clouds moving in at different directions. The atmosphere just extremely moist because of the monsoon and the upslope. And then you can see it all come together. And then as you see here in a minute, you can see how big the raindrops look. It almost looks like snow. Now, unfortunately, not only was it a deluge with rain and there was some localized flooding, but we had beautiful scenes like this just before the storm. And then, oh boy, yeah, unfortunately that same storm, in addition to producing well over an inch of rain in a very short period of time, a lot of hail. Looks like snowdrift there. As we go and take a look at what you can do, we've shown you other ways to mitigate hail. Some have been very clever. This is the old-fashioned way. Get the lawn furniture out, cover up your plants. This is a very effective way to do it as well, especially if you have very little time to construct a fancy gadget. Now, as we take a look at what it looked like from a distance, this is all the way from Encampment, Wyoming, looking at that storm as it developed. It really dominated the skyline. Of course, west of the mountains where the air was drier, you had a better view of it. Then afterwards, of course, we have the pretty rainbow pictures after the storm, after the hail and the flash flooding. Then a nice shot of the clouds being illuminated by the city of Casper there yesterday evening. The satellite photos this morning, again, show where that moisture is. You can see a fine edge to it right along the Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona borders here. Here's the thunderstorms continuing early this morning from how they developed last night as the moisture and the energy arcs around the high here in Texas. You can also see the drier air punch that we've been talking about that's going to come up from the deserts of California and the Great Basin into the region, but not yet. We've got another day where that moisture is pooled along and east of the divide. Keep in mind, it doesn't have to be green. The white is plenty moist enough for showers and thunderstorms to develop, but you can see the drier air here. So the moisture is packed up against the front range, and so we're going to see another active afternoon and evening thunderstorms. Like yesterday, they will be heavy rain producers and could produce that high volume of small hail that you worry about in these kinds of situations. And so the Storm Prediction Center has got those darker shaded green areas, and you can see it's backed up right up against the Continental Divide and Front Range areas there and the adjacent plains. By tomorrow, the dry air gets further east. However, we can kind of draw the boundary like this to where the thunderstorms will be mitigated, but we're still going to have thunderstorms around that ring of drier air. So there's still going to be afternoon and evening thunderstorms, just pushing a little bit further east out into the plains. But you can see this north-south area of thunderstorm development is what we saw yesterday. That's what we'll see today. That's what we're going to see tomorrow. Then as we go out a little bit further, the dry air advances a little bit more, but there's your ring of moisture right around there. So that's where your thunderstorms are going to be. So there's still going to be some thunderstorm activity. A lot of this activity here, the result of soil moisture going back into the air, helping to feed some of those showers and storms. But these will be the showers and storms that produce more wind than rain, except up here. These will be good rain producers as well as down here. For Sunday, the drier air gets more well entrenched, but we also have a consolidation of that green and blue there. So you can see a theme where there's going to be that ring of activity. So for you folks in Montana, the western Dakotas, all the way back into Idaho, even eastern Oregon, you're going to just continue to see afternoon and evening thunderstorms. Then we await the next plume of subtropical moisture. By Saturday morning, the main high is in Georgia into the Carolinas here, and so that is allowing the drier air here to push in and the deeper subtropical moisture to go towards the Corn Belt, the Midwest, and the Great Lakes, bringing these folks just unbearable heat and humidity. But what we will see during the course of next week is, as happens during the course of the summer, these highs will go east, they'll shift back west, and they'll go back east, they go back west, and that just opens and closes the door. So right here, the door kind of closes to the better moisture this weekend, as you saw. But by early next week to mid next week, the high pressure ridge shifts back to the west. So the funneling of the air, the subtropical moisture, starts to return back into here. And the precipitable water loop here, starting Tuesday of next week and going through next Saturday, you can see it just comes right back on in again. So we'll see a similar setup to kind of what we've had this past week. So we'll have another active period of showers and thunderstorms in the west between Tuesday and Friday, and probably Tuesday through the weekend after this one. Have yourself a great Thursday. We'll see you tomorrow.